Hello, you gorgeous individuals, it's Kav here, and today I'm going to be talking about We Set the Dark on Fire by Taylor K. Mejia. We Set the Dark on Fire is a young adult fantasy novel that is the beginning of a duology, and it is going to be released on February 26th of 2019. I was lucky enough to receive an arc of this novel, and it is kind of a whirlwind of a story as to how I was able to get my hands on this arc, and I'm so grateful that I was able to receive this arc because this was one of my most anticipated releases of 2019, and I can tell you that the internal content definitely fulfilled the expectations I had for this novel. So I am so excited to be discussing it with you all today, and as this is an arc review, it is going to be completely spoiler free, so I think you should just sit back and we should just spend the next 10 minutes or so discussing this incredible novel. Let's just get started. To discuss the premise of this novel, I think is kind of difficult, and that might just be because I personally am struggling to find the correct words to really describe what this novel is set on. But really, I see this novel as a groundbreaking debut novel that is about revolution and is about freedom and is about feminism. And I know those sound like giant claims that really give you no insight into the plot of this novel, but I really think that at its core, that's what this novel is. It is a love letter to girls everywhere. It is a love letter to young girls of color, to young queer girls, to inspire them to have the strength to rise up against a corrupt government. And this truly is a really timely novel because it really does deal with a corrupt government. It deals with issues of poverty and issues of immigration, and it deals with the idea of the wrong person getting the most power in this world. I think that that's very timely for the current political climate in the world we live in. But in a more frank sense, We Set the Dark on Fire is, as I previously stated, a fantasy novel that is set in the fictional world of Medeo. In this world, there really is a disparity between two groups of people. There is the rich, and the rich are generally people who were born and raised in the inner of Medeo, and then there are the poor, and the poor are generally people who immigrated illegally or who live on the other side of the border. And our main character, Daniela Vargas, is someone who started in the poor sector of this world and then somehow managed to find her way into the rich sector and has now landed herself in kind of a web of lies, and has also made herself paint this perfect persona in order to survive and in order to be safe in the world that she has been thrusted into. So she has been raised in the Medeo School for Girls, which essentially creates what women are meant to be in this world. When this novel begins, we see her graduation and we see her marriage to a powerful political figure, and it takes us on the course of that journey where Daniela has to start making important decisions about who she wants to be, whether she wants to sit back and let this corruption go, or whether she wants to stand up and be part of the revolution and fight. With this debut novel, I truly think that the author writes the perfect first book to this duology because she manages to weave together the perfect blend of beautiful writing, exquisite and well-developed characters and well-developed character dynamics, and near-perfect world building, all while confronting important real-world issues that exist today. The writing in this novel does something truly important in that it has a lyrical tone and a flowery tone, but it also manages to blend together with the cut and dry nature that is also used in some books. So this perfect middle ground can really appeal to readers who normally drift to either end of the spectrum because it falls right in between and it creates the perfect form of writing. And I think that the author's knack for writing and her talent for writing really is showcased throughout this novel. And then, of course, there is the exquisite character formation and character dynamics that are just breathtaking in this novel. I hated every character I was meant to hate, and I loved every character I was meant to love. And I started talking about the main character earlier, Daniela Vargas. If I was really to describe her character, I would describe her as a badass Latina young lady who manages to be two things at the same time. She manages to be intelligent and emotional. She manages to be fierce and stoic, and really she manages to be someone who is truly brave. Dealing with the dualities of characters, and particularly the dualities of women and the societal expectations set upon women, is something that Mejia talks about in the author's note of this book, in her note to the reader, because that was what she really strove to do in this novel, and she really fulfilled that goal. You really see Daniela as someone who is so well-rounded and so well-developed, and I just think that she was a brilliant protagonist. And as an added bonus, this novel also features a slow burn enemies to lovers sapphic romance that is just as exquisitely developed as each individual character. The bond between these two women is just so beautiful, and their connection is so existent in how it starts as visceral hate at the beginning of this novel and then develops into something that is so focused on love and so focused on support. And I really think that this relationship discusses important and necessary aspects of love, particularly stressing the importance of consent and communication. And I just adored the love between these two women because I loved both of these characters as individuals. As I said, I loved Danny's character. I thought that she was so well developed, and I loved the love interest's character as well. I thought that she was really well developed, and both these characters were so well rounded, and then they came together and formed something just as beautiful, and I thought that that was so well done in this novel, and it was just incredible. But all that said, the most powerful part of this novel to me really was the plot slash the world building slash the real world aspects, which I think were all kind of connected in a way. The world building of this world is so well done to the point where I could legitimately picture living in it, and not just because there are real world connections, but because it is genuinely so well explained in this novel that I truly understood it. And I just feel that it was such a brilliant fantasy world because it didn't feel like fantasy when I was reading it. It didn't feel like I was existing in a different world. It felt like I was existing in a reality, and I thought that that was just so well done. And the plot of this novel really is connected to the real world aspects that are in this novel because they are so intertwined. In this novel, the author really considers the aspect of sexism. As I previously said, she really does consider the dualities of women, and she talks about the societal expectations that are placed upon women, and she really considers these roles and expectations, and she writes a novel where these young women rise up against the roles that they are placed into and become something greater that they have the potential to become, because they have the potential to be great individuals, and that's what they flourish into in this novel. She also writes a story about revolution. She writes a story that discusses issues of poverty and immigration and corrupt people in power and the integration of revolution and groundbreaking movements in that nature. And all of these issues really do not tread too far from the current world we live in, and I just think that the real world aspects of this really made this novel just that much more powerful. At its core, this novel truly is about bravery in the face of corruption and prejudice. It is a love letter to girls, telling them that they have the potential to be anything they could possibly desire, telling them that they have the ability to be well-rounded individuals, that they are not just one-dimensional characters that lay flat and exist for male consumption. It is a novel about finding joy and strength when the world seems so sad and dark all the time. It is everything I expected when I first heard about this novel, but it was also more. All I can really say is that I highly urge you to pick up this novel and read it, and then sit in eager anticipation with me as we await the conclusion to this duology after the unbelievable cliffhanger that this novel ended with. So that really was all for this video. I just wanted to rave about this novel because it was so brilliant, and I truly do hope that you pick it up if you have the ability to do so. Also, my Goodreads review for this novel will be linked in the description, so definitely check that out because I spent a long time on those reviews, so I'd love if you could take a minute to give it a read. But with that, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe because that stuff makes me happy, and go ahead and comment down below and let me know if you have had an opportunity to read this book. If so, did you agree with my thoughts? And if not, are you going to be picking it up now? And what in this video inspired you to make that decision? And as usual, all my social media and my Goodreads will be in the description below if you'd like to follow me anywhere else. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're having a lovely day or night wherever you are. Please remember that you are beautiful and you deserve the world, and I will see you soon for a brand new video. Goodbye!